the hardest working podcast in Portland, Oregon, man.
Play no
Game. What's up, you guys? It's Cartier Bob, and we have an illustrious installment of the P.N.G. Play No Games podcast / show today. And I've got a lot of friends. So I'm CB.
I'm Koss.
And I'm Arthur. We're sharing the mic tonight.
And before we get started today, and because, you know, there's some interesting people in the middle of our sectional yet again, we're going to go to our most coveted. Oh, wait a second. I almost forgot. Like, comment, subscribe.
And donate to Hero/Bob
$Hero.
so we don't have to share a mic.
Yes, look at me.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not even Christmas and I'm acting like a Scrooge. Man, if I only had enough money to pay these guys. Anywho, we're going to pass it to our wonderful, wonderful host because he's going to put and lay down the tracks for our most coveted program or section of the show.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So this section is called Play No Games. It can be positive, negative, informative. It can be anything you want it to be. All you have to say is I'm ready to play no games about this. Let's go to Robert first. What you playing no games?
Right. Wow. Okay. I want to play. You know what I want to play no games about? I don't want to play no games about American society. Right now. Yes, I think I've gotten to too many conversations with people. Blue, red, purple, green party, all this other stuff. Everyone has these ideas and nobody wants to like try something. And it's like bothering the shit out of me. Conversation started with houselessness. Then it talked about gun reform. Then it talked about all these different things and everyone has ideas. I'm just wanting to pick something and try something. And like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a bit exhausted because I'm just kind of like, if I would have the keys to the city, I don't think people would like my reign of terror as Mayor Bob.
Oh no.
Because I'm just gonna
Socialist.
I'm just gonna get shit done. I mean, like, you know what? Let's help the houseless people. But you know what? Let's. I'm just tired of the fucking like rigmarole of.
What's the first thing you do as mayor of Portland?
Man, you know, Mayor of Portland. You know what? Cake day. Every Friday we get cake. How does that sound? Yeah. If you don't like cake, pie. Yes. I would say, besides that ridiculous cake day, I would say, from a serious standpoint, I think the very first thing I would want to do is build 2 sustainable laws and programs to kind of get people opportunities. Because I feel like if there's jobs, then that decreases a lot of different things beyond jobs. Next thing I would want to work on is the houselessness to get people the right resources. And I would say not emergency housing, but like housing immediately where they just have it. Because there's a lot of studies in Finland and everything else that when people just have the housing immediately without jumping through hoops, then that helps them get more resources and things get better. So cake, jobs, sustainable housing.
You're talking more like temporary housing? So
Nope.
Like, okay.
Not at all. That's actually the problem. But I've had too many conversations about this today. But y'all don't have to agree with me. That's not what this show's about. It's just that's what I want to play no games about because I'm tired.
Who's next, Robert?
All right. You know, I'm gonna pass it to. Nah, I want to give him one more example. I want to pass it to Cassian.
Mine's not as serious as Robert's actually. Mine playing no games about the weather.
I knew you would say something like that. Yeah.
That was coming. It's been nice. I hope everyone here has gotten a chance to get out, enjoy it, play some pickleball, maybe. Huh?
I owe you pickleball.
You do owe me pickleball.
Yeah, I do.
But anyways, you know, here in Portland, we don't get a lot of sunshine. It finally feels like spring, maybe around the corner. Maybe summer came a little early. I'll be honest. I was golfing Friday, and 90 was a little bit too much. 90 was a little bit too much. But other than that, yeah, play no games. Get out there, enjoy the sun,
Well,
but also enjoy the rain.
I'm enjoying the sun too.
Who do we go next? Should we go to our guests? All right.
That's what I was doing.
I'm gonna go with our guest, Katie.
Oh no. Okay, so play no games about. I have no opinions about this, but it keeps coming up on my feed. All these new little like, I want to say they're almost like spin-offs off of like MMA. So they've got like, I just saw this basketball MMA. It was like 5v5 and they were shooting hoops and also doing MMA. And then there's that, was that the pillow fight? The
Pillow
car
fight?
jujitsu?
Telephone booth jujitsu or boxing? Telephone booth
Oh,
boxing.
I think
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you put bare knuckle in that category, or is that its own thing?
I feel like that's kind of, I don't know. That's pretty close.
That's touchy.
Yeah. But I mean, there's that slap one.
Ooh.
They're like knocking each other out on that one.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Fight Circus? You ever got around to watching Fight Circus? It's like if you want to watch dwarfs versus like women, they do that 2v1 competitions of like two, like let's say 145-pound guys against one like 250-pound guy. It's not it's all done in Thailand because they won't sanction it in the US. It's called Fight Circus. It's on YouTube. Look it up. It's really interesting. The promoter is this guy, former MMA fighter. He'll get in there. He'll fight people too in a suit and everything. Like it's a crazy, yeah. Fight Circus. Bob Sapp was actually just fought with Rampage Jackson. They did a Siamese twin fight.
Oh.
So they wore one big shirt and they fought two of the guys wearing one big shirt. Yeah.
Oh, it's like that one influencer guy or something. He had his bodyguards with him, and like he just gets knocked out right away against the fighter. Do you remember watching that one? Oh, anyways, it was pretty funny.
Is that at one of the Paul fights?
No.
Oh, that face.
Oh, that
face. Whoa.
You're gonna elaborate?
Oh no.
So hey, Sierra, you ready to play no game?
Yes.
You play no game?
Oh, it's my turn?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought it was your turn next.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
Full court
I'm ready
press.
to play no games. About track?
Oh, y'all are trash.
Nah.
Oh, that is what the big guy. Oh, damn.
Nah, track season's coming to an end, which is great. It's a short season, but it's a lot of chaos. It's a lot. But I'm excited for it to end because the school I coach track at is no.
I don't know.
Wow.
From what I've heard, kids don't
No.
show up to practice.
You hate kids? Ah.
No, it's they all decided to compete in events today, and last 6 weeks no one competed in any events. So it was like, yo, y'all last meet, y'all want to show up and show out. So we had senior night tonight. It was pretty dope. A lot of our seniors showed up and showed out. So it was a good meet. Left a little early, but it was a good meet. So, yeah.
Yeah, he got traded to the Play No Games podcast. We get him every Wednesday, yo.
You ready? What are you playing no games on?
Oh, let's see. I'm playing no games about injuries, sports injuries, pain versus injury, the mental game, the physical game. Yeah, it's brutal. How's it going for you guys? Injured. Twisted my knee, trying to figure out if it's an injury, not an injury. Does it just hurt? Am I just a baby?
Can we ask what happened?
Oh yeah, just we don't have any rules at our gym about like belts or size. Yeah, we're just a bunch of renegades doing our own thing out there. And sometimes I think I'm a little bit stronger than I am, so I push when I should pull, and got a nice pop. Yeah, but she's got a hurt leg. Can't touch it, can't look at it.
Look at it just fine.
Seems like they're popping up everywhere. It's killing me. Walked in, heard about your injury this weekend. That's R.I.P. to the knees.
Damn.
These 30-year-old knees don't function the way they once did.
Oh, you prepared.
Damn. Mm. Well, I'm gonna defer this time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You coming to me? Ooh.
Yeah.
So let me introduce these two amazing guests. They not only operate out of a fantastic gym that I actually also attend on Sundays as well, Girls Gym, which is MMA, grappling, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, the whole 12 gym. And Katie and Sierra. Hey, welcome to the show.
We're happy to be here.
I'm just gonna start with the just kind of like perspective on like both of your perspectives on just like MMA as a whole. I think we'll start on that track and then we'll get more personal towards the back end. Just your perspectives on MMA as a whole, and what do you feel about it as a sport in the United States?
Oh, is that us? Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
Let's single that even more.
Okay.
Women's MMA.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Where do you see the current state of women's MMA?
There's been a lot of growth.
There has
There's
been a lot.
of
Yeah.
growth. I feel like it's taken a lot of time to find women who have good skill and or well-rounded. I feel like, right, there is, gosh, let's go back to what Gina Carano. So horrible with names, but like she's great. She's pretty good stand-up, but absolutely no grappling. Then what we had, like Chris Cyborg, who beefed out, so that's just terrifying.
Oh yeah.
But then, right, who's the next big name? Ronda Rousey, and these are like decades apart from each other, right?
Yeah.
And even Ronda Rousey, right, gold medalist, like she's phenomenal, but again, one-sided.
Yeah.
And it's just really it had been really hard to see people invest. It was great because I think it got women out there for sure, but it was really hard to see people invest and be like, oh my gosh, this name is so great. And as a female myself, I'm like, shouldn't we have higher expectations? Shouldn't we have the same expectations we have for these men? Like I'm looking at Anderson Silva being like, where's our Anderson Silva when crowd? But
you have to remember too, though, even when you started training women, there was still so few women to compete with that Katie was actually competing with men in tournaments. In jits tournaments, and it was illegal for women to fight in the cage.
Coach was one of our first women to fight legally in a couple states.
Yeah, and so I think like just the time to catch up. We're starting to catch up, but the evolution is continuing. So we're starting to see men become more well-rounded in different ways and different like dynamic aspects, and women are catching up. But
and to be fair, I would like to say, like, I feel like it is so hard to find greats in general. I think even the men right now are kind of like it's been a while since we've really had a great I'm biased. I love Jersey.
Yeah,
but, like,
GSP.
there are those times, but then you also got to wonder, like, those were earlier times. So, like, where would they stand now with the techniques now and the people now? Ugh, you just never know. It's a crazy sport.
How do y'all feel about it? Women's MMA.
I don't like
It's a
to
trap.
Oh no. I don't like to cap. I would say I catch all my women's MMA when I go over for like fight nights. And I will also adhere to you. I'm horrible with names. I'm just like I'm like I would say I agree with you over the years. The fights have been like, I'm like, okay, this is legit. Like this fight was literally better than like we paid $120 to watch this quick knockout. Like we got more of a fight from watching the women on the card, where I would say just from like a male's perspective and yours just being at different fight parties, like there's been like a different perception where like people are more engaged and invested in the fight rather than I'm gonna go get something to eat. And I would say over the years I can definitely say that I've seen that. And for me, hey, if you can get into a cage, a mat, and put your life on the line, I got a lot of respect for that because people are dying in the cages and losing limbs. So I'll say that for me.
I guess a little background. So for people listening, they know.
There we
So I do
go.
an MMA podcast. That's what I do in my free time. So
Oh.
I'm an MMA nerd. So I watch every event. I watch every fight, women's fights, of course, included. And I
Do you know
think,
Katie?
Huh?
Do you know Katie?
do I know Katie? From Tapology. Yeah, no. I go to, I guess locally I go to like Rumble at the Roseland, but that's kind of the extent of local regional. I've gone to King of the Cage as well. But in terms of women's MMA, I think like you mentioned, I think there's been a huge amount of growth. I think when Ronda was around, it was fantastic because Ronda used her judo effectively and was able to finish a lot of opponents in the first round, and that was exciting to watch. But if you see a lot of other competitors, specifically at strawweight and flyweight, you see a lot of decisions, maybe a little bit lay and pray, I'd say,
Yeah.
to an extent, and that's totally fine. That is a good technique, and that gets you wins, but it doesn't get people. It's not that zing. That being said, I think you have a couple athletes right now that really push that, and it's not just in the UFC. If you watch one,
Oh
Stamp
yeah.
Fairtex is amazing. Angela Lee is amazing, and not just like good for women, like amazing. Like Stamp Fairtex's Muay Thai is world class. Angela Lee's Jiu Jitsu is world class. She's one of the few to get like a twister submission. So I think the future is really really bright. They just need a little more time.
For me, I feel like it's getting similar to just women in sports in general. As we climb here, I think this past year, women's basketball has grown in the significance of just many different things. And so I feel like women's sports are finally getting the notoriety that they've been missing for a while, especially with the climb. Does that mean athleticism has changed? Not much, but I think the games have changed in general across all aspects of the sport. So, do I watch women's MMA all the time? I don't really watch men's MMA all the time, so I can't.
I agree.
I can't contest to that. But from my experience of watching other women's sports, from women's soccer to women's basketball, volleyball, softball, and some of these other sports, I feel like it's beginning to show more light, and even gymnastics nowadays, especially with certain folks, is bringing more light to gymnastics. Women in sports in general is starting to climb, and I think in the next few years, I hope we get to the same conversation that we can have about men's sports as we can about women's sports. And I think MMA will be, you'll have some of those people that really will be the target of those conversations. Same with women's basketball, which is kind of sad, but instead of teams, like, South Carolina, for example, has been a team that people have talked about for a long time. Their coaches won multiple games in basketball in a row. And they were the talk of the season this year. They were the number one team, end up losing to Iowa and stuff like that. But we're now getting to the point where it's like, yo, these women can really ball. These women can really fight. These women can really like all these different things, all these standards. So, yeah. I don't know. That's my kind of expression.
Now I was curious. Could you guys speak a little bit about where you train at Girls Gym? So I've heard of it, but I'd love to know a little more about it, kind of what that's all about.
Well, I think the most important thing to know about the gym is that Girls Gym is an acronym. Stands for Grappling in Real Life Situations, with a focus on female identifying bodies. Our coach was the first in the Pacific Northwest to break through and have such a specific niche for women's self-defense. So shout out to Sarah and Gary Ariza for making a safe space for women
Shout out.
to train at. Yeah, it's really super popular and really amazing and great opportunities. But I've only been training with them since 2017, so I think Katie can speak a little bit better to the gym and the.
I don't know if that's true. And maybe this is where the mentality goes. And my coaches have always made fun of me for this. Or maybe I wonder also if gender might play a part, but I think it's more mentality and I guess whatever. So I'm curious about you guys, but it took me probably 3 years, right? I had a background in wrestling in high school, found this gym to wrestle outside of high school for jiu-jitsu and competed. I think I even got to my blue belt and it just all came together and I was like, holy crap, this is a self-defense. Like this is something you use to defend yourself with, and especially as a female, right? There are a lot more like technique over strength and power. But as the other gender, does it come across as a self-defense? Does it even or is it sports focused? I think I was so sports focused that I was just like didn't even cross my mind.
Are you talking about the gym? So I want to make sure I'm answering correct. You're talking about the gym or UFC as a martial
I think
arts?
martial arts, yeah, more so martial art or like jujitsu specifically.
Oh no, I'll be honest with you. I always thought that it was self defense because you think of like Karate Kid and like Ninja Turtles. You're like, I'm learning, I'm learning karate so I can beat somebody's ass. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You lost a fight, or I'm about to learn how to do boxing. I think I would say for me over the years, I've gained an understanding that it is a sport. You all are athletes because for me, I was a nerdy kid where like if someone's doing jujitsu karate, I'm just like, yeah, you're watching Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, this. So I would say over the years I've understood, when people climb to the ring that, it's a job, it's their sport. So I would say for me, more or less not, self defense because you're like, I lost a fight at the schoolyard. So
How important is self-defense to you in your daily life?
oh, for me, I'll be honest with you. Self defense for me is actually something I think about every day. When I wake up, when I get in my car, it's something that's always on my mind. How so? Yeah, I would say constant. To be honest with you, so yeah.
I'll speak on that because I do come on Sundays. In the beginning, it was more of art to me. I didn't really see it too much as a sport just because of my mentality of what sport was basketball, football, baseball, and I really seen like kickboxing and boxing as the sports. I didn't really see grappling sports were as like true sports. I seen those more as art forms, and so coming along as I got older and beginning to learn that these are real sports and these are advanced sports. I think once I began to see the self defense aspect of it, it made me want to do it more. Um, because I felt growing up as a kid, as a skinny kid, I didn't have a lot of self defense techniques. It was just fight to defend myself, and I didn't know what that consisted of. I didn't know how to box or how to hold a stance or how to hold someone off or how to even grapple. And I think coming to your gym now more, I've learned how to do self defense a lot. Be more strategic about the self defense that I have for myself. So, do I feel more confident walking around? Yes. Am I always thinking about self defense? In aspects, but I know from doing these things that I can defend myself in any situation, any moment because I have those tools. So I don't know if that makes sense. So like it was never really like, oh, I'm doing this as a sport. I was doing it more for self defense in the beginning. And I think because I seen it more as an art form than as the sport aspect behind it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think the art is so pretty, especially coming out and sparring. You can see. Is it you two trains? Do you train?
Yeah.
Ah, very
I'm
cool.
yeah.
Where do you
Get
train
him,
at?
get him, get
I'll
him,
get into
get
that.
him.
So I actually started 8 years old at Taekwondo.
Oh,
So
traditional.
yeah, very very much traditional. Love that aspect of it because I was kind of a bit of a nerd as well.
I
And then
joined the
and I
Did you watch
club.
Dragon Ball Z?
Of course.
Yes.
But it was also like my parents thought it'd be good self defense. So I did that. It turns out Taekwondo terrible self. Don't do Taekwondo if you want to do self defense. It's a beautiful art, beautiful stuff. Don't do it if you want to learn how to fight. Anyways, did that transition to kickboxing again, kind of more of a self defense type of thing, and I enjoyed the art aspect of it. Took a break while I was in college and all this stuff, and then post college, I decided, all right, it's time to do grappling, do jujitsu, get into jujitsu. So I've been doing it for year and a half. I train at 10th Planet Tiger under Sam Hardy. Shout out to Sam. Shout out 10th Planet. AJ got to meet him too. But so I say when I got into jujitsu my second time, especially because I started then jujitsu when I was like 23 versus when I'm like 8 to like 13. I look at it more like a sport now. To me, I look at it almost strictly as a sport. Like I have to eat like this, I have to train like this, I have to go for a 3 hour course, I have to drink this, 3 hour class, drink this much water, all this stuff, because I look at it in the aspect of I want to compete, I want to do competition, I want to do this. Um, if I have to use it for self defense, that's fantastic. But maybe as you've seen yourself, both of you, when you know how to fight, when you learn how to fight, don't really want to fight because if I hit an Osotogari on this guy and he busts his head open on concrete,
You're done.
you're,
You're like,
you're done. That's life. Goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I'd much rather calm a situation with my voice, my tone, than have to resort to that. But I think that's kind of like that's my perspective of it. Where now to me it's a sport, and I think also the growth of like if you look at where MMA is now. Before I don't know if you could call it a sport. I think now it's been like you can call like what you see on TV on this stuff more of a sport. I don't know about bare knuckle, but
oh my gosh. Two real quick things. First of all, I feel lied to about action movies. Those fight scenes do not last as long as they do. And I don't know how. Have you ever boxed for like 5 minutes before? But okay. And then also the whole, so we were watching BJ Penn, the Ultimate Fighter where Nate Diaz is on it. So it's like number 6. Like it's who's it? BJ Penn and what's his name? Oof. He wears baseball cap.
It's not BJ Penn.
It's not. That's not. Yeah. So it's like season
the one
6.
that just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, right?
Oh, it might have.
Oh my gosh, why am I?
This is so
blanking on his name.
disgusting that he knows this.
I'm blanking on his name. I feel Jens Pulver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Pulver.
amazing.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Very okay. So and they were right. It was the early 90s is like reality show and all that, and like Dana White got so mad at them. He's
Oh
like,
my
I'm trying to
God.
make this a real sport. Like, you guys are embarrassing me. And then we like fast forward to like when McGregor like threw the chair at the like. I was like, wow, Dana White sure has changed a lot. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
now he beats
That
his
was-
wife in bars.
Oh no, we talked about his problems.
Oh my God.
You can talk about
Which is also interesting because he gave like such he had said before like it's somebody else had done that and he's like he's done, he doesn't deserve
He was
to like
pissed.
yeah so
He sent
it's-
people home for like unbecoming of martial artists.
Yeah,
Like
it's-
it was pretty insane to watch that. And
it's sad to see that part change.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, now
making
now the
money.
now the what the UFC's the WWE's bestie.
Yeah. Endeavor, the owner of UFC, bought WWE.
I can't say I didn't see that coming with all of the injuries that they suddenly had a huge spike in.
So, kind of following up, talking about the gym. One of my follow-up questions was, how important do you think it would be for women to get into martial arts?
oh man, I feel like you have a spiel on that.
I think every woman should train in martial arts. I think every female identifying person in this world should train in martial arts. I think something really important that I think that you really stressed is that martial artists know that violence is always an option, but it is never the option. And that's my favorite thing. I've kind of always been a hot-tempered person. I'm always like ready to fight the good fight. But it's completely changed my life. I suddenly feel like just I don't know a weight lifted off of me. I don't have anything to prove anymore. If I feel like I have to cross the street and look stupid to avoid somebody, I'm happy to do it. It's no problem.
I don't know if you do. I think you like make direct eye contact sometimes.
Well, and that's the that's the
Yes,
thing too, is
no.
right. Like we spend a lot of time, at least I have in my life as a woman, that I will avoid eye contact. I'll avoid. I'll move out of the way to make space for other people. I think this is a conversation that they have in a lot of communities, right? Giving space to other people because we feel like we're being too loud or taking up too much. So I think relatable topic across many communities, but really that I feel more comfortable being in a space and taking it up. And if somebody disagrees with me, I don't feel like I have to fight too hard to get their attention and just move on your merry way. And I'm happy to go mine. But the confidence of being able to look somebody in the eye if they're making you uncomfortable and being able to be like, listen, this is not the fight you want to be in, Goldilocks, move over.
Whoa!
Feels pretty good.
Flashback.
But yeah, the confidence, I think, I don't know, this might be maybe a little personal, but my niece was recently abducted at knife point in Vancouver. It's a pretty like real experience and like very eye opening that this could happen to anybody. And her sister who trains, couldn't help but like find myself asking, like, if it had been her sister in that situation, would she have been bold enough or just confident enough to make somebody too nervous to approach her? Where my niece who doesn't train, she's eyes to the floor, does what she's told all the time, no questions asked. And so, yeah, I just was like, let me get her some private lessons, like bring her in, let me hit mitts with her and make her feel good in her own skin, feel confident saying no. Um, but yeah, so every woman should train. Every man, every woman should train.
I think you bring up like a huge refreshing moment in my eyes. You know, the story doesn't make things better. I think that story is kind of like the bottom, but just the confidence piece, right? I think we live in society where a lot of people lack confidence in many facets, and I think your expression of how you receive confidence is a way of like recognizing that some of these things, some of these talents that you might have will bring you confidence in any capacity and just strength like we talked about. Like I don't have to be physically strong, but I know you don't want it. You don't want the smoke. And it's those that mental confidence is what's going to carry you every day through other moments, other trials and tribulations, give you strength to make your day like even better because you know no one can fuck with me. Like I think it we have to set that precedent as older folks to give jewels to younger generations on like some of those ways of getting confident. So thank you for that. I think that's a huge piece.
Yeah, and um that just speaks a lot a bit to what we all have been saying because great power comes great responsibility. Shameless Spider-Man quote. Things like that because it truly is where like people have the power, don't have to like move their weight around to let you know I have power. Like it's always those things have to be like a like last resort because I actually don't talk about this here a lot or like and I won't make this too long winded because I know you got a question. You sure?
I got one, but keep
All
going.
right.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like I just remember like in grade school, like the bullying, where like I was the kid who was like, I wish I could do something, and then like it's so weird to like reflect on like the emotional young boy I was, and I was like, I'm gonna cry, but I'm gonna fight you. And usually those people who are having trouble like displaying their emotions, things like that, usually like when you meet them with force or you're give them a run for their money, I would say that usually like de-escalates a lot of stuff because people are not expecting that fight back, that confidence that this is a last resort. And actually, one of the things I really want to put truth to power to about is what you're talking about people just using some of that energy that it's like sublimation. So like in like the therapy realm where it's kind of like you have like let's say you have like an anger issue and things like that, you can sublimate that and like do boxing or you can do 1,000 push-ups. It's using that energy in a positive way, in a positive light. So I'm actually glad you said that because I feel like that's a big key component to physical health, being able to know that you have that physical energy to get out in a positive way if something traumatic has happened to you or you're just wanting to get involved. So I was like, boom, I love that you said that.
Cool. I'm glad you like it. That's
I'm easily amused.
Quick question: have either of you had to bust out the street jujitsu?
Oh, I was actually gonna bring that up. I wrestled in high school.
Yeah.
Started training at the gym in 2010. So I've been training for 13 years. I've done amateur and professional bouts and a lot of competition. I have never had a conflict outside. Your answer. What's your answer?
Sublimation.
Listen, don't fuck with my kids in the parking lot. I'll tell you. I'll come after you and I will fuck your shit up. No. We share like part of our parking lot with the Mota next door. Tisk tisk, pay your taxes.
What?
But yeah, no, they're all over the news right now.
Oh wait, allegedly to this story.
Allegedly pay your taxes.
Oh,
allegedly.
Thanks. No, but parking lots get busy when they're easy to access, and I run the kids program, and so when people pull into a parking lot, into a parking space, approaching a brick wall with children walking in front of it like 30 miles an hour just to slam on their brakes is a little insane to me. So I went outside to kindly ask a nice man to
Nice
relocate
man.
his vehicle. And he busted out the trusty dusty cell phone camera to tell me I was being a Karen about parking and almost hitting children. I don't know. So he after I calmly asked him to please not touch me and move his vehicle, he decided to put his cell phone on my face. So I put him in a straight arm, kept him away from me, tried to make some space between he and I. He ripped his arm away from me to like come back in. I just backstepped out, and then he's like, "I'm calling the cops." And I was like, "Perfect, you're on video touching me after I asked you not to touch me." So, yes, I've had to use my I've had to use it a couple times. There was another time I got spit on in a parking lot, but the martial arts came through. It kept me cool. I didn't hit him. He was like 300 pounds. If I'd have hit him, I'd have broke my hand. So, yeah, no, I just tried to make space. Good thing about big people is they don't move fast usually. So I
Very
was able
true.
to quickly
Yeah.
make some space and get inside where the lot boy helped me, um, and I was able to get my groceries just fine. So
Our groceries, I appreciate
yeah, our groceries. No, yeah, I kind of have. It might be the like lack of melanin of that makes me look like such a, I don't know, like a bitch. I don't know. Maybe the
Oh.
lack of smile also, but people are always ready to fight me for some reason. Like I could just ask somebody to move their car or take someone's parking spot. Didn't mean to, I swear.
Have
Didn't mean
you
to take
ever
someone's parking
had any altercations?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
no,
I was-
no. I
I'm
try
right there
not
with
to.
you.
Yeah, I try not to.
What's the biggest thing you want people to know about jits, MMA, kind of fighting sports as a whole? Like from your opinion, what's the biggest thing you want them to know?
Oh gosh. I don't want to break it just to like. I'm sure every person has, especially any person that has a sport, has this kind of connection with that sport. But I definitely think it's like the philosophy. I always joke with new people when they come in, like it's a thinking sport, it's an athletic sport, like it's a physical, emotional, spiritual. It really is everything. I joke with people that come in for the first day and you have to learn left and right. And I'm like, I know, I wasn't told I had to think in this sport either. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. But then it really gets deeper into like psychology too, about faking, fainting, and like getting into other people's heads. And then the philosophy of like, of coaching and then like putting yourself in bad positions or helping your teammates grow by like, I just think it's just whole, there's so much more to it than just the blood sport or just the like sport part or just the traditional martial arts side. I think philosophy doesn't get talked about a lot either.
Um, I'm actually glad you really said that. Yeah. Great question. Like philosophy, yeah. More and more I'm thinking about it. It is a philosophy. You think of like the greats, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, all that other stuff. So I'm actually, yeah, that's really dope. Oh, that is right. It's all about the philosophy, yeah, and the coaching. Oh, well said. Sorry, I just had an epiphany in my mind.
I love that.
Thank you.
So, as we kind of transition ish into some other aspects of this conversation, we'll kind of step outside of MMA. You do something else.
Oh.
And I want you to explain what you do and how is that also begin to challenge yourself in something different?
Oh man.
Let the people know
Well, I've been lucky enough to be involved in the fire service and volunteering there. And it's really interesting. There actually is a lot of crossover in people who train and people who are in the fire service, and I'm not really sure what's there. I mean, they do say a lot of times, like a lot of people in the fire service, they call it like a shoot. What do they call it? No, yeah, it's like
Okay.
occupational sport. I think is what they
Oh.
call it. Like you're an
Oh,
occupational
yeah.
athlete, essentially. So that concept of like part of that philosophy of like muscle memory in terms of like, especially in high stress situations, you do what you train. All those kind of little tidbits really cross over, and yeah,
So
I don't know.
you put yourself in a unique situation. The fire service is definitely a male dominated space. How do you navigate this space, being an identified woman?
By looking as much like a 12-year-old boy as she can.
Ouch.
There's a
But I look
sniper
young.
in the
I
building.
look young.
Damn. Yeah, exactly. So that's
We're married. What do you? You look older than me.
No, I do actually think that that's a really good question.
It's really interesting because, right, I feel like it's funny you asked that because I was asked the same question in some kind of interview of when I started wrestling. And they're like, well, how do you feel about being like a pioneer for women? Or how do you feel about being in this sport where it's male dominated? And, right, this is, God, I hate this. This was in what, like 04?
this is
There's-
04 material.
Yes,
Okay,
2004.
set the scene.
So,
Yeah.
and I think I just, I guess I never thought about it like that. I just have always thought about what makes me happy and what I like to do. And it's not really who else is there. It's just about how do I get myself there? Or like how do I get myself a part of that? And there is really no what I guess, right, there's that philosophy again. Like and I think there's a time in learning your art, your martial art, whatever it is, where you stop being like when it's not excuses necessarily, or I can't do this, or this is too hard, or I just don't understand. It's less of those questions, more of what can I do? How do I do it? How do I get there? More of these different like mindset of questions that you're asking. I don't know if that answered anything that you asked though.
Ah.
I mean, I think it answers a lot of questions in just perspective, and I think as a male, like in thinking of male perspectively, we automatically think that way. We're not talking about who's in that space, can we be in that space, how that space looks. It's I see that, I'm trying to get there, instead of looking like at the ceiling. And I think you bring that perspective of like I don't see nothing, I'm just trying to get there. And I think that also goes back to that tone of being that pioneer aspect, right? There's no is not a given to you. And I think that is also what brings a lot of beauty and growth, and also a lot of doors being kicked open for other folks to have that opportunity. And not recognizing and seeing myself or your individualism as a way, like you're saying, as a scapegoat to not being able to get somewhere. It's like, they can do it, I can do it. Hey, I'm getting there. And I think a lot of people have to begin to put that in perspective when it comes to just people in general.
Yeah. I do think that's why I let my dreams of being a cowboy go though. I really wanted to be a cowboy when I was little, but I didn't see any other little Asian girls being cowboys, so I was like, I can't ride horses.
I can't ride horses.
Well, it's like I would hope, I'm assuming, you're helping people out during the fires, that there's fires going on, like, you're a woman, don't help me, I'm gonna burn alive. I would hope they'd be like, save me. Wait, okay, God, this is perfect, come get me.
The periods and the boobs get in the way a lot, I would imagine.
As a matter of fact, I just I look like one of the boys. Actually, you mistook me all the time for my cohorts.
Oh my God.
Short hair. It turns out they can't even tell. No, as long as you can do the job, right? That's all that matters.
No, and like, I'm actually really glad that this question like came up because like it's it's that mentality of like I'm just doing what I'm passionate about, and usually when people working operating from a place of purpose and passion, it's just like, oh, I'm the first person to do this. I didn't even know that. I'm enjoying this because it's coming from a pure place, and I'm not gonna lie. I've been sitting next to you for like almost like 20, 30 minutes, and you're awesome. I was like, and I can really just tell that, like that's just really what you want to do. We're like, and there's nothing wrong with, people who want, break barriers, be the first person. But like when it's truly something that I really want to do this, it's just like, that's just like really like, that's just like the pure essence of doing it. And I appreciate that because I can bore people and they know about what I do. Cause like it's the opposite for me too as well. Cause I'm in a dominated field with
Female dominated.
female dominated field.
Oh.
And I think for me and the clients that I see and things like that, I always just come in and sit and be like, how can I help? Like that's my mindset, that's my purpose, that's my passion. And it's doesn't matter like about how you identify. Obviously, for me, it's like you feel comfortable. Yeah, I'm a dude. All this other stuff. But it's like I really appreciate that because believe it or not, I think I also too mirror that too as well. Where I'm like, I just really want to get the job done. So super kudos.
Love that. Yeah.
No. I like that for you. No, I like that for you.
For all of us.
Oh yeah, unity.
And kind of speaking towards what Rob was saying too, I'm also put in a similar situation recently. So I changed teams at work, went from a all male team to now I'm the only male on my team. I thought it was really interesting. Never really noticed that dynamic and what that would do. So like let's say for example, when I was on the male side or the all men's team, we'd have weekly Zoom meetings. 5 minutes of productive talk. The rest, other 25 minutes, just shooting the shit. Pretty much. On the women's team, or now this current team I'm on, the complete opposite. It's 5 minutes of how was your weekend, cool, all right, and then the rest is just productive. What are we doing? We're playing this out. We're playing that out. And it's honestly, it's made me better at my job because it's made me be more on top of things. And that was something interesting. I didn't realize when I moved over to this team. It was kind of caught me off guard. It was positive change, but yeah, definitely interesting.
There's so much into like there's so much and there's so little into gender like aspects of things or like right then it's like you start going into that nature versus nurture and like psychology. I love that stuff in another life.
No. Oh no. No. It truly is where I kind of have to go back to when I was playing on games about. I literally am like just very frustrated with the world where I'm just kind of like, can we just get it? Can we get the ball rolling? Like people need help. Like let's cut the shit. Help. So I feel you where it's kind of like it's that nature versus nurture, and we all have our our things we have our affinities for, and I like okay. So what's the next step? So yeah, I agree. It definitely goes back to a lot of that different stuff. So yeah.
So kind of went into another direction that I was like, let me see how this question goes because I know we have these conversations all the time, just talking about like femininity and male versus female and this aspect of like you're talking gender roles, and we talk about these things from a men's perspective a lot on our show. We don't get a lot of female perspective. When it comes to like, we talk about what was the main one we brought up with like passive, like women being like passive and
submissive.
There it is.
There we go. Yeah, just die on the hill. It's okay.
Die on the hill.
So we talked a few times about like women being submissive, and
Are those words you would use to describe me?
No.
AJ?
absolutely
kind
not.
of
That's why I want to bring this up because you're the perfect person for this conversation. What is your opinion on this idea of submission?
I love getting a good tap.
Oh my Jesus.
That was good. That was good.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa.
I think that explains it all for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that those have ever been words. Well, okay, not since childhood. Maybe in childhood you could use those things to describe me, passive or submissive. But something really happened in those teenage years. I really turned into an asshole. I don't know. Yeah, what women are you talking about?
All right. I'll save you. Anywho,
I already know.
no. Do you actually know? Go ahead.
I'm curious. I'm curious. I don't know if I heard that episode
Hold
specifically.
on. let me throw AJ on the phone here.
This is
Maybe
him.
what he's talking about is the concept. Is this maybe what you're talking about, AJ? I find that when teaching new people, it's really interesting. And right, there's always people breaking the stereotype, but there seems to be a
Absolutely.
majority of, even when I start sparring new people, I have to be like, you need to hit me in the head. Like you need to aim for my head. I probably 5% of the time need to tell men that. They will try and rip my head off when we're boxing, but women won't even come towards my head. Like, is that kind of what you mean? Or like even
No,
hitting
I'm
pad- oh,
I'm
okay.
talking more in relationship aspect of things. We have this
Oh.
conversation of like in a men dominant society, a lot of men, especially we talked about last episode, these men that travel and get these women because they're submissive, and so I
Hit the Bob button.
geomaxing,
Hit the
all these
box.
different like, yeah. Anyway, so we talked about this aspect of like submission, right, and how women in society have kind of like changed this idea and roles, and we always talked about how there's really no roles when it comes to relationships. Like there's a point where men are gotta be submissive, or your partner, whoever your partner may be, have to be submissive, and vice versa. I want to hear you guys.
We're two women in a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
They
I'm
have
sorry.
jokes. They have jokes. I love it. They have jokes.
Oh, yeah. But I've known them forever, so it just
I
makes
think-
it even better.
I think I get where you're going with it. So tell me if I'm wrong, but so in our very specific relationship, I'm sure just in
no.
the amount of time that you've spent with us, you can imagine who might go belly up a little bit more frequently than.
But I can beat her up in real sparring.
And so-
Whoa.
So that's true. That's true. So we don't have a lot of conflict in our relationship, like period. I think that's a pretty fair statement to
Happy
make.
wife, happy life. That's what I live by.
Yeah, it's a pretty good rule for us, but it's also because we have really clear, concise, and compassionate communication, right? So it's not just like direct answers, which I appreciate. I really like a direct answer out of somebody, but I don't want like, hey, do you want me to make you have some lunch ready for you when you get home? No, no, thank you. Would be nice. And so like, right, so she'll hit all of those things, though she never says no to food. That was a bad example. But it's because it's like clear and concise and kind. We have good communication there. But in other relationships, because I, unlike Katie, have dated men before being married to her, I totally was that way, where I would be pretty submissive. Like when somebody would be mean to me or hurt my feelings, I would just kind of take it and go home and cry and be like, "Oh, my feelings are hurt." Yeah. So I don't know. It's changing. It's changing in the waves. I think actually the groundbreakers for this specific thing that we're starting to see change, like ripping down the walls of like misogyny. Like women don't have to go home and cry when you hurt their feelings. They might be like, that hurt my feelings. Say sorry to me. Is this generation after us? What are they? Gen Z.
Zoomers.
X is before
Zoomers?
us. Yeah, the Zoomers.
Zoomers, yeah.
Is that the
Yeah.
real term for it?
I'm a Zoomer.
Ew.
Yeah.
But they're crushing it out there, breaking the gender roles, breaking the binary, just destroying the mantle of what we have known society to always kind of be, and the rules that we followed. And I really love that. It makes me feel empowered, and I'm like, yeah, you tell me what to say. You were born in 2003. Tell me what to say. I trust you.
Oh no, go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you go. I got something after. Yeah.
I think what I think what AJ was getting at is we've talked about a lot here on the show about what people think submissiveness, and I think you were talking about what DJ Solo was talking about when he's talking about submissiveness and timidness. And I guess for me, I just have like a running theory: no matter what or how someone identifies in any relationship, that there's going to be someone who's more expressive and someone who's more I don't say recessive, but I don't even say meek, that just less quiet. Like, and like it's always that levying, and like no matter what position you are in your relationship, you still have to advocate for yourself. And I think in our dominant culture, that's where people get things backwards. We're like, we'll say we'll use the heteronormative of like, oh, guy does this, girl does this, blah blah blah. But if we take that one person out of the ecosystem, the whole entire ecosystem rots. And the fact that we as people take that for granted, no matter how you want to structure a relationship, is just horrible. And then how we just shame people for what their relationship and how their relationship works and functions, where it's just disgusting. And what do you call it? So I really appreciate you both just talking about that, because it's important. And I think is that what you're kind of alluding to?
Yeah.
No, I'm so interested in what
I
AJ
know.
means. I was-
Actually, me three.
I don't know how to like really put it into words in the
Could we get an
context.
example?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's scared.
Wait a
He's
second.
scared.
Wait a
Don't be
second. If you
scared.
listen to last episode, I think AJ has lots of examples he can use. I wonder, which one would you like to give us? Public knowledge.
Interesting. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, listen to last episode.
Nah, I don't really know how to even get it an example. So, like even in the aspect of like submission, right? So, we've talked about a lot in like, men taking out the trash. Women could also take out the trash, right? Like in this gender normality, and I think you tapped a lot into that conversation piece of like your own relationship. Like there's some fluidity to it. So being able to see like heteronormative relationships that have this same mentality, and being able to recognize like there is no complete structure. Like you're talking about how Gen Z is really like open the door to this concept of just be who you are, and allow the norms to come in communication, right? So allow us to establish our own sense of boundaries and restrictions. Like there are still a lot of women that are like, I ain't taking out trash, but then there's some that are like, I'll help you, I'll take it out, or I'll take the recycling, whatever the case might be. And like I wanted to just hear perspective on like, which you've already kind of tapped into it and said you love where things are going. So it's like perspective on that. Like how is this idea of submission going away, or how is it now being communicated in a way that is like there's no such thing as submission? Does that make sense?
You know what's so funny is like we actually kind of have like gender roles in our relationship. Like it's kind of weird.
Theory. Prove it.
It's so weird. But actually the weirder thing is that we live next door to a husband and wife couple that have grown children. I've known them literally my whole lives. And I was outside like pressure washing the driveway, and I was watching the wife next door mow the lawn, and I had a thought in my own head. I was like, why is she mowing the lawn? why isn't he mowing the lawn? And I was like, damn, that was rude as fuck of me. Like that was I'm out here pressure washing the driveway and like, why can't she mow the lawn? She always mows the lawn. And I guess that's probably what irritated me, is that she always mows the lawn. But
You make me mow the lawn.
I had to teach her how to mow the
Well,
lawn.
yeah, first she had to teach me, but now it's my job.
Yeah. but anyway, I thought it was really funny that you brought that up, taking out the trash, because I was like, oh, I take the trash out over doing the dishes any day. I don't want to touch the nasty dishes. Pass.
Yeah, I'll do the laundry
Yeah,
any day over, or the garbage, whatever, over. Don't give me the dishes.
I'll do the laundry, but I won't put it away.
I'll put it away. Just I don't want to touch wet food that gives me the ick.
It's so ick. I
It's
agreed. Yeah.
The question I had was, so you'd mentioned how you'd been in a heterosexual relationship before, now being in a homosexual relationship. What was the biggest change you saw, like, within, like, that community? Would you say, because I have friends who are also in the homosexual community, they've always told me it's easier, it's more direct. They kind of just tell you what people are looking for in this stuff. Now, I'm curious, have you guys had similar experiences like that? Or is it different?
Well, I definitely had to get used to like the directness. Being married to Katie. I dated women before, but like it's always kind of quiet, like hush hush, don't tell anybody. But when I was with men, right, like it would always be like, you did this and you made me mad, and I was like, what? I didn't mean to. Like I didn't mean to upset you. Instead of where like with Katie, nothing is ever my fault. Like anything that's ever happening inside her head, like it could be that she felt like there was an inappropriate interaction between myself and somebody else, and she's never going to make the insecure feeling or the jealous feeling that she might have surrounding that my problem. um She'll communicate like, hey, I'm feeling like I just don't feel like super good about this right now, but like you don't need to change anything, it's not a you issue, I just need to think through this a little bit more. So I'm never left like on the outside of her head wondering what's going on, and then I'm also never made to feel at fault for any action that's happened. And then we have a conversation to build on like how that might look different in the future, or what could have been communicated differently.
I do feel like that's from martial arts, though. That whole concept of you can only control yourself, right? You can't control anyone else.
Yeah.
So I can't control her or somebody else. But I can control and explain my side of things.
I do have a really quick question too as well. Um, in regards to kind of like piggybacking off a little bit what you were saying, and do you think that was more or less the type of men you were going for, or just Katie? Because what you're saying is, let's just say, not to say I'm a good read of people, but but I would just say her mentality, right? Because AJ started this conversation about like how in social media everyone's like ginger this, blah, 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 blah. And like I always say, like it's very like tasteful because there's certain gender roles or non-gender roles that people want to adapt and have. And that just got me thinking that just based upon just the person she is, maybe that was more your speed rather than it was those men. And I was just curious, do you think that may have played a part?
Oh yeah, that 1% of men.
1% of men.
She always says that, like, I know, like what do you always say? She explains these men that she's met, or like these guys that she's known, and whatever ways, minus AJ. But I'm always like, gosh, no, like my dad was I'm not gonna, dad would not be the right one, but like father figures, like I was like, oh no, my dad went to like all my games, he was really supportive, he was always supportive of everything. Yeah, I know, my brother was always sweet to all the women he dated, like he was always a good brother. My guy friends were always really sweet, and she was like, that's not how all guys are. And I was like, well, that's all the guys I knew though. It's all very
Pretty put together. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's something like deep and psychological in it, but really, I think that that again, kind of back to the praising Gen Z for what they've done, is really breaking down like the concept that it's okay for men to cry, it's okay for men to go to therapy, it's okay to talk about our traumas and talk about things that hurt our feelings, not just like physically hurt us, but like things that like hurt you. Like if your mom yells at you for talking too much, like that sticks with you. And like, so I think that maybe it would be different in the heterosexual community nowadays, right? Like that men are seeking out the help and learning to effectively communicate. And I'm sure that they already existed. They just weren't looking for me.
The reason why I bring this up is like, you know, is I'm just like just a firm bridge builder of like everyone seeking, you know, mental health and things of that manner, and everyone being the best version of themselves. Because you know, shout out to, you know, the men I surround myself with, and the people that I'm around, where like, you know, I think we do a really good job of separating of like, all right, you know, we're gonna speak from, I don't want to say our toxic side, but like our super radical side, like, you know, all women, they suck. No, they don't, you know, and but like then getting to the nuts and bolts of like, why do you feel bad about this situation? Because I feel like we let that drug take over us, where we're like, oh, all these women, there's, but it's no, you're just really upset about this situation, and this is 1% of the million of like women in your life. So I don't want to leave you on the island, because like I've been on my soapbox of like blah, and you've been on your soapbox of blah.
Maybe, yeah, I have.
No, he's the worst. He's the worst. Cancel them.
We love a good soapbox.
Do you guys feel like there's a shift in your like I don't know how to ask this. Do you feel like there's a shift in how you feel pressured to be, or that maybe the thinking? I don't know what it is I'm trying to ask, but I think you are getting it.
I'm your Robin.
Ah,
I'm your Robin.
thanks, man.
I'm Robin. You know, I'm right there with you. Go ahead.
I think there's a lot of pressures when it comes to being men. But also like there's standards. Like I feel like we set a standard for how men should be in society. And if you don't live up to your standard, you're not a man. And I think that is when you're talking about the Gen Z, like breaking down some of these barriers. They've allowed the door to open to be like, yo, a man can be whatever he wanted to be. A man can do this. A man can do that and this. And so, but I think it's so accustomed to saying like this is the standard of what a man should be, and if you're not here, you're not a man, and kind of so on and so forth down the podium. If you don't have this, you're bare minimum, you're a bum. And it's like, so it's like, how do you try to find your way into being like who you are? But I think as we continue to grow in society and some of these barriers get broken down, it's like, man, just because he work at McDonald's and all his bills is paid, don't make him a bum. You know, like he's still doing the things necessary for him to do what he needs to do, whatever the case may be. And I think we've begun to kind of change the mentality, like change. And for myself, like it's alleviated a lot of pressure on who I should be and who I want to be. And I think that has been a huge piece for me to say, like, I don't have to be this when I can just be me, and that will come, or this is already where I am according to myself. So
You,
Yeah, I guess being the Zoomer in the room, I should speak on it. So what I found is as I've gotten older, so I'm 25 now, and I'm still single. I use dating apps and all that. I see that a lot of, let's say, 20 to 22-year-old women find interest in me, but women my age don't. And then even when I have gone on dates with, let's say, women who are 25, 26, they always say that they're kind of looking more for someone 28 to 30, man wise. And to me, I've come up with my own hypothesis that like a lot of women, specifically my age, don't necessarily want, maybe I'm sure a lot do, but I think a lot of them also aren't looking for, a project in a way, quote unquote. They're looking for a man, someone who maybe already is farther in his career, has a house, has everything set up to where they can almost fly in and be like comfortable. That might be just like a harsh reality of it, but it's just something I've noticed myself where in our society, yes, like on social media, it's always about, men need to go to therapy, men need to, they need to be okay with crying on this stuff. And that is true. And that's 100% true. But I feel like on a day to day basis, there's still a lot of expectations on men, even with a younger generation. It's still expectations to, be a quote unquote man, have yourself set up, have goals, and so on and so forth.
and I guess to round about to answer your question, and then lead you into one of our final questions is, I would say yes. I feel like, as they eloquently said, that there's that pressure has always been that pressure, and it's actually kind of like asked the question, and you were like, do you see like it was not it was the question like, do you feel safe? Or like I'm thinking about safety all the time when I wake up, like when I interact with people, because I know what my skin color and what my maleness does to people, where it's kind of like, all right, doing this again. She's walking down the street, purse other side. I get it. And I think for me, maybe I'm just a bit old school with it, where for me, I know I do identify as a man. I do identify as heterosexual, and I think for me, it's still like that bridge building where like I want to make anyone I come in contact with feel comfortable. And I think with that comfortability, it's also knowing what's going on out there. And that's a pressure and stress I put on myself, where I do get a lot of think like a man, act like a man. And I'm like, I get it, I understand. But I also think there's a lot of good dudes out there who see how reality and society responds to them when they are doing toxic things. And this is just a shout out to, once again, to the people I'm around, where we're saying you don't have to do that. Just be cool. And like whoever needs to be in your life will be in your life. Like that's a waste of your energy and time. So I would say that's a big pressure, but whoever's listening, 'cause, it's literally no matter what, like just be you. Like whoever's going to be in your life is important. And that leads us into our ultimate last question, because the people who need to be in your life are in your life, because we have two, because as well as talking about dating culture, society, and things like that, we talk about unions here. And we have two wonderful people who have made the pledge with one another.
Tattoo
And
for life.
wow.
Hers faded. Her life faded off.
Wait,
I
from
know,
from
it's-
fighting?
No, she has
I have
eczema.
and
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was about to say, I was like, dang, that was a mean graph. We grabbing people with tattoo ink come off. Dang. um, we talk. I talk about they kind of co-sign, kind of. They
Co-sign.
disagree. Oh no, I think it knows
About what?
marriage.
Oh, what's
No,
what's
you
the stance
disagree.
on
Wait,
marriage?
Yeah,
you.
what's opinions about marriage?
I'm pro marriage.
Okay, wait a second. It's you.
Marriage.
We're pro
You right? You were saying no marriage or no like celebration, right?
Speaking to the microphone.
That's not true.
Okay, I apologize. Maybe I was wrong, but anywho, the better question is,
Rafters.
hey, he'll fact check you. He'll go back and listen. Yeah. We talk about how marriage is very important, and we have two wonderful people who decided to take the plunge, and a lot of people listen, and we're just curious, how do you both make your union marriage special? What's the secret?
What's your secret?
Happy wife, happy life. I stand by that.
Sure. Yeah. I think it just goes back to the communication piece, right? Being clear and concise and compassionate with your partner's feelings, self accountability, and sometimes you just have to remember that you really love somebody.
You have to remember.
No.
Oh,
you know-
damn. I'm trying to give people brownie points. Damn. I gotta go home.
I was like, she just makes me happy.
Yeah. Well, but like we don't always agree on everything.
That's true.
In fact, there's a lot of things that we don't see eye to eye on, and it's not, we never sit down and have the conversation of like, well, we just have to agree to disagree. Like I actually think that that's not super healthy. It's just to agree to respect each other's opinions, our views, and our thoughts, and never force the other one to do anything that we're uncomfortable with.
Yeah, but we also get to roll together.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that
And
takes us out of
and
the-
because we train together, right? So martial arts, it's awesome. Every time before we like walk into the gym space, it's just you drop all of that right outside the door, go in, do your stuff, put yourself to work.
Or it makes it worse.
And
You didn't take out the trash, elbow. You didn't take out the trash.
but whether or not you choose to pick up that baggage on the way out is then more mutual. You get to decide if you readdress the the stuff that you left, and if it was really that important, or is it something that you could just, you know what, I was
Let
just
go.
having a bad day. Sorry. Yeah, I'm super pro marriage. I'm very pro marriage. Marry who you want, divorce who you want. But but yeah, you know, the commitment of having something binding, having a contract, right?
Yeah, she's stuck now.
For a
She's
fight.
stuck.
For a fight. They don't tell fighters like, okay, get ready. We'll see you in a few weeks. They make you sign a contract. You commit to follow through, and the words that you put on the contract that you sign your name on, you commit to that, and you have to have follow through.
Put a ring on it.
Yeah, she put a ring on it. I can't wear it a lot, but it is a nice ring.
No one has a prenup over there.
No prenups, but you know what? She's gonna have to just give me it all. I don't have much. Just a lot of emotional baggage. She can have it if she wants.
And as we wrap up, how can the people get a hold of you? How can people find you? Where's the gym located? If they want to, pop in.
Katie's pretty much dark on all social media, so you'd have to come in person to Girls Gym, 52nd and Flavel, to see her. You could schedule a private lesson with her. You can come in and train with us on Sundays. She teaches a 90-minute MMA class, which AJ's there for. I'd love it if you all popped in. You can schedule private lessons with us through
Her.
and with myself as well.
Actually gives private lessons. I don't give any
But
private lessons.
the best place to connect with us is in the gym space. That's where we're always at, Tuesday through Sunday. You'll find us there, hanging out, having a good time, making friends.
Being weirdos.
I believe that.
And again, if you like what we doing, like, subscribe, hit the bell, donate to $hero. Come on, bro. You supposed to be.
I was looking down. I'm
Come
sorry.
on, bro. You dropped
I was
the
like
ball.
Barack looking out
Dang,
the window.
fumble.
I keep looking. I know I was like, wow, I wish I was looking out that window.
Exactly.
That's right. Come on, bro.
I apologize.
And
Oh, my
go
bad.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, me? Are you sure?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
I just want to say, man, I know they'll probably say, appreciate you both. Appreciate our dope conversations, because anytime people have conversations to this level, it just goes left and it's like that. And hopefully a lot of people were listening, really learned a lot from you. I definitely did. You are both dope, pure souls, and if no one told you this week, y'all are doing it. So thank you for your time.
Oh, thanks for having us. It was
Yeah.
cute.
Pretty much what Robert said. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing stories, your experiences. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
I see y'all on a regular basis. But I honestly, like, I really respect opinions and thoughts and mindsets, and that's really why I wanted to have you guys on the show, because I think you guys bring a different set of values that people need to hear. Not only just in the mindset of what you're doing, but also what you're creating, because you guys also forgot to talk about what you do. You guys have your own podcast you do as well.
Oh.
What? What? This explains so much. Yeah, I thought it was just a great marriage, but this explains so much.
It's new. It's
I'm
baby
just a
podcast.
host.
Co-host.
You're so rude to me.
So, real quick before we get out of here, let the people know what you guys do and what is it about? What do you guys talk about?
So our podcast is called Rona 4, the number 4. It stands for Renegade Opinions Nobody Asked For.
Acronyms.
Yeah, we love it. We love an acronym. We just talk. It started because we just go home and talk after training and just have these long conversations about our headspace or about what we're working on, or injuries. But we have a lot of pretty deep talks, and so we chat, and then we upload videos of us training over top of it, so you can watch us just fucking around while we're talking about nothing.
So I wanted to bring that up because I think it's a dope picture. When you actually listen to the podcast and watch them, it brings context to what they're talking about a lot of times, because it's almost mesmerizing watching them go through the rolling aspect. It brings a lot more entertainment to the podcast, and it's a very unique situation. But I had to shameless plug y'all out here because you guys were asleep on yourself out here. So again, it's amazing talking to you per usual. Nothing but respect, nothing but love. Again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching us on YouTube too as well. We're always here. We're always here to give you what you need. So it's been the Play No Games podcast. We out.
Peace.
Probably wondering if I think of you. Sorry, I'm for the bag right now. Yeah, I'm for the bag right now. Yeah, for the bag that I never had. Yeah, you probably mad right now. Yeah, I got a 2-piece now. But shit, I think they call them groupies now.